What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Mario checking in, man. So right now I'm just looking at Bitcoin, just looking at the chart and actually breaking down what has happened, getting an idea on what's going on right now and what could potentially happen in the future. So if we look at this 8 hour chart right here, I just want to start back from right here. This is March the 19th, and this is current price action right here. As you can see, we have took a nice fall to the downside, and now price is basically much in this range. Um, After breaking out of this range up here, um, if you just look at this area right here, the first thing that I noticed back here, if we break down price action back here, right? If we break down price action back here, all right, starting from back here, let's break down price action. So I'm gonna clean the chart up, and I will take these off as well, right? For the video. All right. So if we look back there for just historical price action, right? We could tell when price was making these highs that they was building liquidity right here, right? All right. So let me um take out the extension. So notice back here that when they was creating these highs, price was basically ranging, creating equal highs, which is basically a sign of the banks creating liquidity, right, for them to take out. All right. So once they built that liquidity, notice how right here you had this nice area right here, and notice how they push price up and then broke structure right here. So this hard move to the downside, right, left a lot of bank orders right here because they had to buy in order to sell. Okay. So when the banks bought into this move right here, when they did this move, right, they took out all of this liquidity right here. So they took out all the short sellers right here. All right. When they created that move, they took out all the short sellers. And the people that was long from buying, this miniature or short term uptrend, right? The people that had long positions, right, from these bottoms have their liquidity rested below these lows. All right. So they just took out the sell side liquidity that was resting above here with this move right there. So the reason why when price did turn, once they bought into this move to sell off, the reason why price dropped to this low because they took out all of these orders. All right, so they took out two sides of liquidity with this move. So we know that this was a bank move right here, all right? So that's just breaking down what happened in that area, okay? So we know the banks were involved right here, okay? We know the banks were involved right here in order to create this move. And that is what happened when they created this move. So when they dropped price this hard right here, they left the orders open right here as a loss. So their objective is to now come back and mitigate these orders somehow before they continue this downtrend. Because if they was to create this up move, taking out this liquidity and drop price all the way down, they will be at a big loss. Okay. So notice how once they drop price, all right. Notice how once they drop price down here, all right. I'm gonna take it right here and notice how they created these equal lows right here. You had these two equal lows right here. Notice how they created those equal lows, and then they also had created those equal highs right here. So price was basically in a range at that moment. Okay, price went into a range, created liquidity on both sides. Had people shorting and buying this structure. Okay, you also had people probably looking at this low right here that didn't get broke. Okay, you had basically all this liquidity being took out, but they left this low right here um, respected because this would have been quote unquote an order block right here. Okay, so price came down, tested this order block, rejected it, okay, and then started accumulate. All right. So when they did that, you had people looking at this as a range and they was buying and selling. You had people buying and supporting, you had people selling this resistance. So therefore you had liquidity being built right here. Then notice how you had prices drop down below these equal lows right here. All right, drop down below these lows. So that's the banks taking out this liquidity. So we know the banks got involved on this move right here. So we know the banks was involved on this move right here. All right, and now they took out this liquidity, right? We know that the rest of the liquidity is up here. All right, so the downside liquidity has just been taken out, and notice how they brought price all the way back up here to take out this liquidity. All right, and in doing so, okay, notice these weeks right here. In doing so, this week right here, I'll put a line right there. Notice how that week came into these counters right here. Now, notice how it actually tested this counter first, because this was a bank move as well back here. All right, this was a bank move, because notice how that move right there closed above these equal highs right here. All right, so when this candle closed above those equal highs right there, that was the banks taking out these orders. All right, they accumulated a new range right here, and then took out those orders as well right here. All right, so that was two bank moves right here. So you could have considered this whole area as an order block. All right, so notice how price came back into that area, mitigating the long orders in this area right here. Okay, um, it's never going to be a situation where you know how far it's going to go into an order block. You got kind of have to just gauge it. Kind of have to just go off your intuition. But this was a bank counter right here, so they could have came into this one, or they could have went even more into the move mitigating these long up here. But I guess they got enough of their orders off at this level right here, and that's where price decided to fall from. So now that we know that there are no more retail shorts or longs, because they took out the longs right here with this move, they took out the shorts with this move, and we also know that this was a bank move right here. So this was an order block move right here. This level right here was order block move, and this right here was an order block. All right, reason why this was an order block when that happened, because notice how when price did rally up, right? When price rallied up to these equal highs, right? To the top of that resistance right here. So notice how when price came to these equal highs, see these two counters, those are equal highs, and you can consider these equal highs as well. So notice how it created those equal highs and then came back. Notice how this big counter right here came into that area, breaking those equal highs, and then a nice strong push off, breaking this structure right here. When that happened, that was a bank move. All right, that was a bank move right here. This whole situation was a bank move, and we know that that was the counter that they used to take out orders right here. This counter right here was your up move before your down move. So this right here would have been an order block. And notice how they came back into this order block. In this situation, they came way into this order block, actually going higher above the order block. And these highs right here were stop hunts that was also mitigating more long orders from up here. So if I put a line the top of that wick, notice how it came to right at the bottom of these two counters right here. And that's the start of this big push up, and right in the 50% area of this push up. So these two bank moves right here were getting mitigated multiple times right here with these stop hunts that also was mitigating this order block. So now that we know that what was going on right there, this was liquidity grabs, right? Liquidity grabs, also order block mitigation happening right here. And notice how price fell from the area the way it did. So that's the reason why we had this big push down, because this was a big order right here. They offloaded a big amount of orders in this area and came back to mitigate those orders, right? And then took out, offloaded this move right here. So we know what happened back here, right? We know that we understand what's going on in this structure right here, okay? So now we're looking at this downtrend right here. we understand why this down move happened. Okay, this down move happened because of the situation we just explained, right? So this area right here, notice how when price did finally break this structure. So when price broke this structure right here, so I would consider this whole area of structure right here. So when price broke this structure right there, all right, that left a lot of orders. All right. So honestly, I don't believe if there are any more order blocks up here. I honestly believe this whole area right here is I just really can't say honestly. This order block right here could still be valid though, right here as well. So this whole area right here could be still be valid, because notice how once they did break structure right here, it came back into this high right here. So this was your last high that was created before this down move right here. So this right here would be your order block right here that I would be looking at right here. I would be looking at this level right here, which is still fairly the same area of this whole order block move right here. So you can still consider this whole area right here your order block. All right. This is the area I'm looking for price to return to mitigate this imbalance. You have an imbalance right here, and you also have this level right here though. So reason why I'm looking at this level right here is because when price broke this structure and came back down here, right? So price came back into this level right here, and once we finally broke that structure right there, so we finally broke that structure right up in here. So we broke it right up in here. This was the counter that broke that structure. And notice how this counter right here came back into this order block right here. So I can take this back up. So this was your structure break right here. And so notice how this is like the same area of this old order block back here. So once price break and structure low right here, and that structure low is an old order block. Once price breaks an old order block area, um, uh, most times I notice that price will create an order block in that same area. So notice how price drop created this nice move, which is also a level of imbalance, because notice between this wick and this wick, you have a free area right here, like just a plain traffic area right here in the middle of that candle. So you have a level of imbalance right here that price can come into, tap into that level, mitigating these long positions that they took to create this low right here. Also, just kind of mitigate more longs into this order right here. So it can get tricky once it get to this area. Can easily come into this area and maybe reject it to come back down some, or they can come into this area and use that liquidity to go ahead and take out more orders to the upside, and then we come down. But that's what I'm saying. That's the targets to the upside, and that's where I see the money at the upside. Now, as far as down here, it's very noisy. Notice how the candles are kind of like very choppy. So price basically dropped, right? We had this nice drop, breaking this structure low right here. Oh, sorry about that. Clean my chart up. So notice how once we had this drop right here and price broke this order block right here. So this is an order block to me as well. Price could easily come back into this area right here. So this is really like the area that I would set as my target right here. Anything above that, I would just be patient and get ready for the sales. But I can easily see price tapping back into the 48,000 area easily. Being that this order block right here hasn't really got retested. Notice right here, once it broke it in this area, you got those double tops right here, those equal highs right here. Those equal highs haven't been broken or they haven't been retested. All right, so this order block right here, you can see it has kind of been retested already. So this right here. So notice how once it broke it right there, broke out of that area, had these candles right here to come back and retest it. So you can easily come back and retest this order block right here. All right, can easily come back and retest this order block. Um, Point is, right? So my whole point is it's a lot of money resting above this structure right here. It's a lot of money resting above this structure downward right here. All of this move right here, all of this structure is just a accumulation type situation to me. It's like just them building liquidity so they can take it out, right? To get back up here and mitigate these orders and then come back down to take out these lows right here. So that's what I see. Um, as far as exactly where it's going to go, that's really not even my concern or how it's going to do it because it always plays out different. But ultimately, I do see price returning back up here to mitigate this area right up here. So that is the long-term perspective as far as right now, where we at right now. Notice how when price came down, we had this nice move up, rejecting this quote unquote support area right here. And you had a nice another push down right here. Okay, and then multiple pushes up. So once people saw this right here, once people saw this double bottom right here, pretty sure you had a lot of people going long on these dips right here. You had a lot of people going long on these dips right here. All right, and then notice how you also have these tops right here. So I'm pretty sure you got people shorting right here. Look at this top right here. Pretty sure you got short stops up here. So we know that for people going long in this up move right here, had they stops down here, just got taken out with this move right here. So this move, this sharp move right here was a bank move. Notice how it came down, breaking these equal lows right here. Kind of broke those equal lows. You had these equal lows right here, and these equal lows right here. Came back right below this low right here, probably mitigating some shorts into this week right here. So that was a bank move. We know that the bank had to create this move to create this move. So this up move, this hard up move right here, broke this structure right here. So we know that this right here, this whole area right here is, we want to watch this area, right? Because on the higher time frame, this whole area is an order block. All right. And on a hourly time frame, for what I'm looking at right now, this right here is your order block. So this is the area I'm looking at. Because being that this candle broke this structure right here, all right, and this was the last low created to create this high, looking for them to come back into this low, mitigate these shorts, and then come back to take out more highs. And ultimately, I will be looking at this order block because we can easily come back and retest that order block right there, breaking this high right here. All right, because we do have liquidity resting above these highs. So price can easily come back and retest that area to go down, or it can use that liquidity to take out more of liquidity to the upside. So that is what I will be looking for once it get there. But as far as right now, I am expecting price to come down. If I go to the hour time frame, notice how we had price to rally out of this zone. Sorry. All right, notice how we had price to rally out of this zone. We had this nice rally. Price basically came to these equal highs right here. Notice how we came to these equal highs right here. And once price got there, it created this little rejection, and probably had even more people shorting right there once price came back into that area. So this nice move right here was a bank move, taking out this liquidity, also mitigating these orders right here with this order block. All right. So once they mitigated those orders, notice how they came back into this area to mitigate some shorts. This was an order block low right here at that point, and then price shot up even higher, okay, to take out these highs right here, retesting this order block. All right, so notice how once we took out those highs right there, notice how, look at this. So notice how this strong move to the other side right here, notice how this candle right here, this whole accumulation right here, not only broke these equal highs right here, but it also broke these equal highs. All right. So we know that, and it was a fake out. Okay. So this was liquidity grabs because it didn't close above this high right here. So we know that this high right here had got respected because of these wicks. So this was just a liquidity grab above, grabbing the liquidity that was resting above this structure high right here. All right, so we know that the banks was involved to create this move right here, because once this happened, you had this nice push down breaking this structure right here. All right, so we know that the banks was involved right there, so that's where we could have waited for the retest, because once they broke that structure, they had to come back to mitigate these loans before they come back to the downside. And being that they respected this structure right here, the low that was created right here, so this was low right here, I will be looking at this low. So that could have been the target right there. All right. And because at this point right here, price had broke structure right here. So this was a structure break right here. So that low right there would have been the low created from this high right here. All right. And that could have been where you would have been expecting price to come back into to mitigate. All right. By the retest of this order block right here. Okay. So let's say this didn't happen just yet. I will just come back into the replay. All right, so notice how price created this structure break right here. So this candle right here was your structure break. All right. So once price broke structure, you would have been looking for them to come back and mitigate these orders up here. And then also notice how they got these equal highs right here. So that's also an indication that they're accumulating liquidity right here. Okay. So let's look at how price came into that area right there, tapped it a little bit, got people excited, probably got some people to start shorting early. I actually shorted early as well. As soon as it came right there, I started shorting. So I was an early shorter right there. But I got out and waited on that move right there. All right. And that move right there was the actual bank move. The bank move will always close above the equal highs. All right. Like this move right here. Notice how this candle right here closed above these equal highs. All right. But it respected these equal highs right here. The wicks went above these equal highs, but the candle did not close above these equal highs. So we know that it was respected. All right. And it was also just a liquidity grab. Whenever you have a price grabbing liquidity, all right, at a level, then they're grabbing orders to mitigate the opposite side. All right. So that's how I look at it. And notice how when we came back into that level, this candle right here actually closed into that zone. All right. So when that happened, all right, we would have been looking for a structure break, break the structure. All right, so boom, that should break the structure right there, because this candle right here broke this structure low right here. So it actually broke the low of this bank move candle. So that whole area right here could have been an area you would have been looking for retested to take to the downside to this area right here. So we'll drop to the 15-minute, see how we could have caught this move. All right, so we see the structure break. All right, and now we're just waiting for a retest back into that area. So price probably come back into a old level of demand right here. So this low right here, and then that low right there would probably be the level that price retests before it comes back into that area. Let's see. All right, so boom. That notice how price broke structure. All right, so we broke structure to come back and mitigate some old shorts. All right, so this was an old order block low right here. On a smaller time frame. This was an old order block low on a smaller time frame right here. Notice how price came back into it. This was your breaker structure. Notice how also they created these equal highs right here before this candle. And you know that this would be the bank candle because of the breakout and the way it closed into this level. Okay. So we know that this was an imbalance and this was an order block on a smaller time frame and also the higher time frame. So that would have been the entry that we would have took. Put our stop above this high and target down here. And let's see how the trade would have played out. All right, boom. And that would have been the trade. Could have got a better entry. It's always best to wait for that confirmation, you know. But hey, if you wanted to take it just off of the hit of that order block, still would have had some drawdown of about roughly 300 pip drawdown if you wouldn't enter early. If you wanted to refine that, you could have refined that entry as well by dropping down on a smaller time frame when price came into that area. So, say for instance, when this happened, all right, we know that this is the order block on the higher time frame. So we would have went to let's go to the 5 minute. All right, go to the 5 minute. So we know that this is a bank move. All right, and notice how price creating these equal highs right here. So you got equal highs right here, and price just created equal highs. So once price break this equal high, probably retesting this order block right there. And also look at this order block right here. This order block right here. All right, so that is also order block right there. So those two order blocks right there is your relevant order block on a smaller time frame. All right, so let's see. So boom, look how price T the order block. Now we'll be looking for a breaker structure. So that's your breaker structure right there. Broke back below this structure candle right here. Could take sales at the retest of this level right there. So once price come back into there, you could take your sale. So boom, could take sales right here. The retest, this order block, just stop right there. CP right there. Let's see how that will play out. It would have looked like we would have got stumped out. Yeah, so that's the thing. If you try to refine it too much, especially like on Bitcoin, it is a possibility that can get taken out. But that's why I kind of like to keep my analysis or enter when I enter. I like to do it on an hour time frame when it comes to Bitcoin, because if you try to refine those levels too much, then it's a possibility that you can either miss the trade or enter at a bad time, trying to be just too perfect with your entry. So, like I said, would have been best just to have this right here. All right, because when this happened, Like I said, this was the retest of this order block right here. So that really would have been your entry. That really could have been your entry. All right, that right there could have been your entry. See, once you do it on the hour time frame, saves you time, and it's actually more accurate than you would think, you know. So dropping to the top smaller time frames is cool, but sometimes actually the higher time frames are just as accurate. Or even if you didn't enter right there, right, and you would have waited to this break the structure. So once price broke this structure, notice how price made this bank move to break these equal highs right here. All right. So this was your structure break right here. All right. This was your last up move. This was your last up move right here. Uh-oh. This was your last up move before the structure break. So that would have been your order block right there. And you could have just had a order right there. And they could have been a trade right there as well. All right. So it's all about how you want to play it. You know what I'm saying? All right. So being that we came into this, notice how price broke that structure. So we broke this structure right here. All right. Took out all the orders. All any buyers has been taken out, right? And any sellers was taken out right up here. Okay. And if we do have any sellers, they have the stops up here. So we know that stops could be up here and possibly above here. All right. So we know that that is where the liquidity is. And notice how price is basically, building new liquidity below these lows right here. All right. So what I would be expecting is this after this hard drop right here, we know that they left orders open, but you also had a structure, a break of structure. So when you have a break of structure, right, you always look at the order block that it broke. And this is the order block that it broke. All right. So let me clean up the chart a little bit. So this was the order block that it broke right here. Okay, so notice how it was respecting this order block right here at first for these pushes off. And then this structure right here, this candle right here, was the actual candle that broke the order block right here. All right, so we know that this was a bank move candle and this was a bank move candle. All right, so I would say in the median right here, that is where I can see price coming back to. And also notice how price is creating those equal highs right here. So notice price creating equal highs, right? Creating those that accumulation liquidity, right? Getting those people to get ready to buy. People see this nice big move right here. So you got early buyers that's gonna come in, place the stops below here, all right? And you also had early sellers, right? They got their stops above here. And so what they're gonna do probably is take out the seller's liquidity, take out their sales stop liquidity, buy stop liquidity, right? And in doing so, they'll be taking out liquidity, mitigating some long orders up here, all right? So they'll be mitigating long orders up in here, all right? So they'll be mitigating long orders, and then they will also drop it, break that structure, all right, and take out these orders as well to the downside. So they will probably come back into this 4-hour demand zone right here. So notice how down here you had these equal highs, and then this nice push down right before you had the nice push up breaking structure. Okay, so this has already been traded into, this down move candle has already been traded into right here. So this move down already traded into this candle, possibly mitigating those short orders. So this area right here is the level that I'm looking at for price to come back into, because that would be our demand zone. All right. So I'm looking for price to come back into this area right here. So once price come back into the area, to mitigate this order block right here, I'm expecting price to then take out these equal highs and possibly retesting this order block right here. All right. So we could probably see a nice push into this order block right here. So notice how you had this nice down move, breaking structure, and price very rarely touched it. Okay, so you had the trade, it traded back near it. Okay, but it didn't really trade into it. Okay, so I want to see this order block get traded back into. Um, those are the two just really significant areas. Once you really look at price, this is the range. Okay, so this is the range that we're playing in right now. Anyway, anything other than that, it's kind of really irrelevant at the moment. It's good to understand what has happened in the past. It's good to understand, order flow, but keeping it simple with just what's going on right now is also something to do, because you get too lost on stuff that happened in the past or stuff that haven't even happened yet, you can possibly miss a good trade. So, and I'm looking at this though, like I said, this area right here, this order block area right here, easily get tested. Easily get tested anywhere up in here. This then you have this level of imbalance right here. So I really would like to see price come back up here. Okay, come back into this area right here. All right, but we shall see. Anyway, that's it for this video. I just really kind of wanted to break down Bitcoin on what I see, how I kind of view it, and what I see long term wise. It's so long as this order block holds right now, then I would be long term. I'll be looking for long trades to take out this liquidity to the upside. And once we get back to that high, which is fairly a long term perspective, then I would be looking for long term shorts. But as far as like the trend, the long term trend, I see it being an up move now. I see the trend going up right now. I see price being very bullish right now. We've accumulated, been in a lot of accumulated a lot of orders in this structure right here. So a lot of liquidity up in here for us to take out. And also we have these long orders up here that needs to get mitigated. So that is what I see. And once price, like I said, once I see price come into this area right here, I am looking for price to come into that area, right? And in wicked, I want to see wicks. Okay, I want to see wicks. I don't want to see price come into this area and close in this area. I want to see price like how price tested this demand area. You see how it wicked it right here. I want to see the same situation right here. Okay, this demand area, I want to see price come back down and wicked, and then I'll be looking to take longs to the upside. All right. And there is a potential potential 5,000 pip play. So that'll be a good move to start off the week. But and I will also start building for swings as well, because you can catch that swing and price break out of this area right here. So let's say price come back up here and actually close above here. All right, then we probably get some move coming back into this low to mitigate some of these orders and potential even further movement to the upside. And if that happen, I want to be involved in that whole move long term wise. All right, so I want to be involved in this whole move to the upside. just building a very small position, right? Because if I can gather 10 positions at 1 cent before we leave out of 40,000. All right, so let's say down here I find 3 trades at 2 cent and I scale out on all three. That's 3 cent right here. And then let's say I scale in 3 trades again, that's another 3 cent. And then let's say I do the same thing right here before we break out of 40,000. If I can trade the trend that well and scale out and get those entries in right there, a nice 10 cent beforehand, then that's a nice $10,000 just catching that expansion to the upside. So that's my plan. That's been my plan ever since we hit this level. So that is it, man. That is my plan to that is just my outlook on crypto, man. Bitcoin, man, BTC. That's the only market that I'm trading right now. Been very, very low key. Just doing my thing. Really haven't been too active in Telegram or on YouTube. Really just been super, super just chilling, you know. But appreciate y'all watching, man. Yeah, enjoy your day. And see you later.